Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. Today is episode number 67, and it's all going to be about how do you calm down. So this is so important because we've got a lot of stuff going on. I know I've said that almost every time. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and even if this pandemic wasn't happening, there's still a lot of things that we have to deal with on a everyday basis, and it is important to know how do you calm down. And the funny thing about that is you think about when somebody tells you, especially if you're in an argument, how you just need to calm down, and somebody says that, how likely are you to calm down from that? Probably not. Probably it might even make you more mad than you were in the beginning. I know it's just funny that people say that all the time, like, oh, you just need to calm down. And of course, the person gets more escalated and usually does not calm down despite saying that. So, and a lot of people don't like being told what to do either. And I am one of them. So I know that if somebody tells me to calm down, it usually has the opposite effect. But it is important for us to be able to calm ourselves down. So, of course, our podcast is all about ownership and taking personal responsibility for yourself because your life is your responsibility. And part of that is having control of your attitudes and emotions and being able to calm yourself down and not depending on somebody else to do that or expecting somebody else to do that. I think that can get very dangerous. So it is important that we know how to do that. And what better time than now to calm yourself down, because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of things that can get you stressed out, worked up, and losing sleep, anxiety, depression, all of it. But the important thing is, how do we fight that? Because it is growing by the day, the people that are affected by so many different things that are happening, and we need to be able to counter that. We got to have the tools to do so. So a lot of, here's a lot of examples I have. I don't do every single one of these, but just things that I've been thinking of. I feel like I've done all of these though at some point or another, but I don't like do them all together. So it's going to be tailored to what works for you, whether what resources you have or what time you have, what is effective for you. Some of these might not be effective for you. So just some ideas and things to help you calm yourself down. Maybe stepping outside, getting some air. I know that helps. Maybe taking a walk, going for a run. Exercising is a big one. I exercise 5 days a week. Probably more than that because I do take my dog for a walk. We do take Marley for a walk. So that counts as well. It's not going to the gym, but it is getting outside, getting some fresh air. I feel like that's very helpful. Maybe eating. I don't know if eating's calmed me down before, but I put that on here. Eating and drinking, specifically like drinking tea, drinking something maybe with chamomile, something that would calm you down, not drinking alcohol, although that might work for some people. I'm not suggesting that at all. So something non-alcoholic and eating something preferably healthy, but maybe, people have, it's called comfort food for a reason with, like macaroni and cheese or bread or, turkey, things like that. Actually, turkey does make you fall asleep. There's hormones in that helps. So, and that could be one thing that you do. But another thing would be breathing exercises. And I know we've talked about that before. One exercise that I have done, one of my doctors had given me I can't remember what method it's called, but you breathe in for 4, you hold for 7 counts, and then you breathe out for 8. Now, the important thing is not the actual counts, like, oh, how long is your 4 count or your 7 count? Because some people count faster, some count slower. It's the fact that you have it consistent. So whatever you do, make it consistent, but doing that 4 times. So breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8, repeat that 4 times. That really helps calm you down. It really helps calm the vagus nerve, which I'll talk more about that too. That's really what the breathing exercises do. They kind of get you out of that maybe panicky mode if you're feeling that way. Now, this is all whether if you're just really worked up, really anxious, maybe you're in an argument with somebody or somebody's, saying something to you online, you're getting your blood pressure up and you want to calm down. So that is what all this is for. Reading would be another one. Maybe taking an Epsom salt bath. I actually did that. I haven't done that in a long time, and I did that the other week. It was very, very helpful. I didn't realize how helpful it was until afterwards, because it's just sometimes I just get lazy, and I don't want to fill up the bathtub and wait for all that, and it just it's easy to push off because it does take some time to do that. You can't just get in for 2 minutes and get out. It takes longer to fill it than that, so it wouldn't be worth it. So that's another one. And then maybe laying down, maybe taking a nap. Maybe you just kind of put yourself in a timeout, that you are self-aware enough to realize, hey, I should not be making any kind of big decisions right now, or anything life-changing. I need to go sit down. I need to go take a nap. I need to just sleep on it. And then maybe I'll think about it later. I think there's nothing wrong with that, and not pushing yourself to a limit to where maybe you do make bad choices that you can now not come back from because you made them in a bad state. So that's something very important, that you make sure that your mind's clear, especially if you're making, big decisions or something that's coming up. Really, really all about your mental health and your mental clarity. Maybe meditating, thinking over something. And I don't mean meditating like, you have to chant anything or anything like that, but really just thinking over, maybe you do have a big decision. Maybe you've got a job interview coming up. Maybe you've got a move coming up, or a kid going to college, or something that's happening. Maybe a marriage, maybe something else. Maybe somebody's having a baby. Just big decisions, big things you have to think about. Taking the time just to think over what you're thinking about. Because a lot of people don't do that. We do need to think about what we're thinking about and being able to sort those thoughts instead of maybe staying on a loop in our head because we haven't taken the time to sort out whatever it is that's bothering us. So taking the time to do that is very helpful. Journaling or writing things down. And we've done a whole podcast on journaling. So I would encourage you to go check that if that's something that you're interested in, because it does help to get things out on paper. Maybe you've just got too much up in your mind and you really just need to get it out. You need to see it on paper to be able to organize it, think through it. Maybe a lot of the things that are, rolling around in your brain are not helpful, or they're not really that big of a deal, but you just need to get it out and you need to sort it. And that would help you too. That would really help with mental clarity. And anxiety is worrying too much about the future, whereas depression is focused on the past. So just things to keep in mind, maybe analyzing and how you're feeling and how to combat that. And if it is something from the past, I would suggest maybe getting a counselor or somebody you can talk through with whatever it is that happened. Maybe it was a traumatic event, something that maybe a loss of somebody that happened in your life that you can't get past, some sort of mental block. And that's why, maybe you're always on edge because of it. Something to explore for sure, and really being self-aware. So many of our messages are being self-aware and really taking ownership of your life again, because that's ultimately what you have control over. You don't have control over other people and what they say and do. So it is important that, we can just focus on what we can control. Because at the end of the day, that's all we can. So it's not worth it to stress and worry over things and have anxiety about things that may or may not ever happen. Like I said a couple podcasts ago, that a lot of things we worry about never come to pass. So that's just something to think about. So with all those things, that's not all inclusive. There are obviously other things that you could do, add to that list that might help you, that I haven't mentioned. So just think about that, and then think about, what are you currently doing when you get all fired up and charged up and you have trouble calming down? What do you do? Is there something you do, or do you not do anything? And do you just let it fester and get worse? So something to look at, what could you add, or do that you're not doing, to help you calm down, to help you be in a better mental state so that you have clearer thinking and you can process a lot easier. I think that a lot of people right now are not in that state, and me included. I felt that way as well. So I am not excluded from this at all. I do believe that it is important that we are self-aware, and you might not be self-aware every single time, and it might take some time to notice that, but to be able to get to a point where you do notice it at some point. If it's not right away, maybe the next day or within a couple hours, or maybe somebody tells you, maybe your spouse, like, hey, you're a little off today, what's going on? And not to attack them for that, but think about it. Think, oh yeah, well, this happened and then this happened and I haven't really thought about this, so I'm just letting this roll around and now I'm getting flustered because I haven't processed all of this and now I'm all wound up. So things that, maybe you need to change. Maybe you're handling something in a poor way right now, and you are. If you are coping with something in a negative way, I feel like deep down in your gut, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to do this because it feels really good. And I'm just going to, just this one time, or this last time I'm going to do this. And I would highly suggest to stop that, to look really at what the damage long-term that would do. Maybe it's drinking. Maybe it's hanging out with people that you shouldn't be hanging out with, a bad group of friends or group of influence that's not positive on your life, but that makes things feel good in the interim. But I would suggest to look at that and really take that seriously, because the importance of calming down is so that we are not stuck in this fight or flight mode. I feel like a lot of people have been. It's awful. I have been stuck in fight or flight mode for a long time before, and I didn't realize there were certain things that I hadn't worked through in my life, and it had my body just was kind of set there, and I wasn't fully aware of it. But when I became aware of it, there were things that I did to obviously fix that. And a lot of them are what I mentioned, but this is an ongoing process. So once you calm yourself down, it's not going to be permanent. Like, of course, you're going to get spun up again about something. So it is important that you have tools so that when it does happen, you know what to do. And if you need to write those down, like, go for it. Write it down so that maybe when you aren't thinking as clear as you could, you just see that list and you're like, oh yeah, I could just go for a walk, or I could journal for 5 minutes, and it's helped me before, and I'm going to try it again. So I think that's really important. The more tools we have, the better empowered we are. And so when things like this do happen, that we can be more effective and be a better version of ourselves that we want to be. With the vagus nerve, like I mentioned before, it is something that is very powerful. And if we can calm the vagus nerve, that is what can get us all spun up. So if you calm yourself down, then that is helping you obviously deal with whatever you're dealing with, and can really release, the calming chemicals in your body so that you can be in a state that you want to be and thinking clearly. And one thing that I've done recently, I've heard it from Mel Robbins. She wrote a book about high-fiving yourself and also high-fiving your heart. So what she meant by that was that you put both hands over your heart and you push a little bit, put a little bit of pressure on your heart. And she said, I am safe, I am okay, I am loved. And you don't have to say that, but that's just what she said. And she put that pressure on her heart, but just taking those couple seconds and doing that helped calm her down. I've actually tried this and it does work. It does work to put the pressure on your heart to help calm your vagus nerve down. So that's another tool that you can use. I've found her stuff very, very helpful. But she did write the high five habit, which has to deal with some other things, which are really cool, including high-fiving yourself in the mirror, which sounds really odd because we don't do that, but it has very powerful effects. So I would encourage you to check that out. And that is definitely something that can help you, especially if you are very anxious or very depressed or very upset with what you see right now going on in the world and you don't know how to deal with all of this. Obviously, if it is very serious, I would highly suggest getting a counselor, getting somebody that you can talk to, that you can work through your problems with, a professional, somebody who's not related to you, doesn't have any bias towards you, doesn't know your story, not just a friend. I would highly suggest getting help in this area if that's something you really struggle with, because it is worth every single penny to do that. So just wanted to give some tools and just want to encourage all of us that we can keep our sanity in this crazy time. It is possible. And it is very important to protect your mental and emotional well-being, especially with what's going on, because it doesn't seem to be getting much better in terms of things that we cannot control, in terms of, what we see the government passing down and things that are happening, especially in other parts of the world, like in Australia, that is absolutely crazy. Every day, I am thankful that we are here in America, but I really hope that it doesn't happen to be like what is going on over there with all the lockdowns and all the crazy tracking. It's like you can't really do anything without everybody knowing about it, which is mainly the government knowing every move you make, and I don't like that at all. I'm all about freedom and being able to live the life you want to live. So personal responsibility and owning your life. So with that, I just wanted to give tips on how to calm down, how to stay calm, and how to, get yourself in a calm state if you do feel charged, if you do feel really stressed out, if you're feeling really depressed, really anxious. Obviously, those are two different ends of the spectrum, but you could feel them at the same time. So just things to pay attention to and to really keep yourself in a good mental state with all the crazy that is happening, because we cannot control that. We can control ourselves. We can control how we handle it. And the cool thing is you will be an example to the others around you, which you are already. So what kind of example do you want to be? What do you want your kids to see? How do they want to see you handle the pandemic and everything that's happening? Do they want to remember, hey, mom and dad were really calm and collected about this, and I can't believe how well they handled it. And they taught us, you teach your kids these things too. Oh, they taught us about, breathing techniques, or maybe we journaled together, or whatever it is. That you're going to be that model for them, or they're going to see, oh, they were a total mess the whole time. And I don't want to be that way if that happens when I'm an adult and have kids. So just remember, your example does matter, and other people are watching you. So you never know who you're going to impact by your example, and it is not too small. So just remember that. Just want to encourage you all today in giving you tips on how to calm down. Obviously, telling each other to calm down is probably not going to help, but utilizing these tips is definitely going to make some sort of impact in your life. So with that, thank you all for listening. Please share this message. Please subscribe. Please rate and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.